Alright, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Everyday Whiskey, and I'm a fucking asshole. Damn it.
Oh, he's an asshole.
I'm an asshole now. Fuck.
I'm gonna use that as the intro.
Alright, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Everyday Whiskey. I'm Dan.
And I'm Mike.
And this is an episode we have been waiting a long time to do. We've finally accumulated, I think, enough bottles. We are doing 8 whiskeys in the next 2 weeks for our High West Whiskey Special.
Yes, this is going to be our first 2-part episode, which we're both excited about because High West is a very extensive line. They have too much to do at once, or you'll be sitting here for 2 hours with us.
We did do Buffalo Trace in one episode, but that was more so to prove a point.
Yeah.
I think
that was a little bit different.
To do a vertical.
Mm-hmm.
This is just because we love the product, and we want to showcase this with the most amount of detail. With the most amount of detail and the most accuracy that we can, and we really want to kind of go in depth because what High West does is something that no other distillery does. Not no other distillery. Mm-hmm. There are other. I wouldn't classify High West as like a single rye whiskey or bourbon distillery.
Not at all.
I would call it like American single malt, blended whiskey, because they are on the same line as like Balcones, Westland, Corsair, and then High West. I think those should all be talked about in the same breath, where like I have Balcones, I have a Corsair, I'm working on getting some Westlands actually because we're gonna do an episode with those at some point.
Yes.
But yeah, their proprietary blends are like top notch when it comes to the industry. They've won gold medals across every freaking whiskey competition you can think of. With that being said, enough teasing. We're gonna go into we'll probably start with the white whiskey.
I think the other big advantage High West has, as opposed to like Buffalo Trace, is that you can get even their limited stuff easily all the time. You know, it's not like a one-time in November drop and you have to spend $1,000 for a bottle. Like, there are exclusives.
They're always around.
Yeah, they always release at a certain point each year. They do 4 quarterly release, 1 per quarter basically.
Yeah, they do.
And anyone can get them. So that's why this is even more special to us, breaking it in 2 parts as opposed to the Buffalo Trace.
And big sad, yippee-ki-yay.
Yes, R.I.P.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yippee-ki-yay is done. Yeah. But we don't want to go into too much of the limited stuff because we are doing all the limited series next week.
Yeah, next week will be that.
So you'll see all that. If you look at our post today, you'll see which ones we're doing.
But limited and higher end, because a couple of them next week you can get all year.
But they're higher end, and there's
more
2,
expensive.
and then there's 2 that you can only get
right now.
One part of the year. One in the early winter, late fall, and one in the early spring.
But you can get it every year, and it's not like
it's not a
hardcore death match to buy it.
But, alright, we are going to start with something that little people know they actually have.
Yes.
Which is their light whiskey. And when you say light whiskey, we've done this on an episode before where we did the moonshine episode. Light whiskey basically implies that it's distilled at a higher temperature than regulated by bourbon or whiskey standards. So
it's not aged.
And it's not aged. And so basically it means it's distilled at above a temperature of 160.
Yeah.
And then at that point you're distilling between 161 and 200, which closer to 200 would put you in vodka territories. I believe this is distilled between 185 and 190.
Okay. So this is basically what all of this starts off as, because it doesn't touch a barrel. They distill it, it comes out of the still and into the bottle, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like moonshine, but it's not.
And I don't want to say that, I can't say for a fact that this is like the base of all the whiskey they make, but this is a white whiskey. So if you want to let your mind wander, this probably is close to what their base would be. But all right, let's get into it.
Cheers.
And as far as what I've had, all the bottles we're gonna have tonight, I actually haven't tried the double rye. Never had it.
I've never had that.
So we specifically bought the double rye for tonight because we didn't have it in the inventory.
And it's one of their core lineups.
I want to do something I did in Kentucky here.
Oh yeah, that. I'll let you get all messy. I'm monitoring the camera.
All right, so basically, if you put a little whiskey in your hand, rub it in, get some friction going.
You have natural...
You ever seen Beer Fest where she's like, I warmed the sausage up.
I lost my train of thought. I'm glad you took over right there. Natural moisturizer, that's what I was going to say.
And then it's just like toffee and almonds and chocolate. It's fucking awesome.
That's so cool. Alright, let's give her a try. The nose right off the bat.
It's moonshine. But it's sweet. It's like sweet corn. It's similar to Old Tub.
Do you get a little cinnamon in the nose though? I get like a little kind of.
I think
like allspice.
Yeah, I do allspice. I don't think cinnamon. I think more baking spice.
Yeah.
But on the palate, it's light whiskey. Like there's really not a crazy amount of flavor going, but it's not harsh. It's not like moonshine where it's not harsh.
Not harsh at all.
So this is a really cool thing to have. Like if you're a collector or you want to
sweet.
really get into whiskey, because I feel like you can't say that you're really into whiskey unless you have a base. Like you've had white whiskey, because you gotta know what the untouched product tastes like.
It almost reminds me. It kind of reminds me of a Japanese soju, which is a completely different product because that's usually made out of yams or some shit. That
Yams or rice.
Yeah, yams, rice, and a couple other weird.
I get like a little almond note,
barley.
maybe. I maybe get almond.
There's some weird sweetness that I can't pinpoint.
My buddy,
it's good.
Yeah.
It's just I can't pinpoint.
My buddy Christian, he actually picked this bottle up for me. I paid him for it, but he got like blueberries out of this, which I am not getting blueberries. No. Maybe residual sweetness?
It's not like a corn sweetness either. It's a very weird sweet. I can't pinpoint quite what it is, but it's delicious.
It reminds me of the Old Tub.
Yeah.
But the Old Tub is just like, it's aged, so then you get like some of the caramel and chocolate notes that you get from a barrel.
That comes from a barrel.
But it's just like the initial hit of the Old Tub where it's like super bright and ethanol-y.
But it's super, and what's the proof?
It should be 40.
40% alcohol. It drinks super smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no burn.
For white whiskey, it's smooth.
It's great.
All right, next we will be doing High West American Prairie Bourbon. So this is their base cocktail whiskey.
This is their It's just their bourbon.
This is their bourbon. This is
the base, the entry level, not entry level, but
yeah, this is the only bourbon they make too. If you want to
whatever it is. This is like just their flagship.
Yeah. And so High West is cool because it's a little known fact that Utah, back in the middle of the 19th century, was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, whiskey state.
Yep.
Due to all of the gold miners, silver miners, and fur traders flooding into the state. And basically, it sucks because the only bottle that we don't have here is the Rendezvous Rye.
Yeah.
Every year, there was an annual festival called called the Rendezvous of the Fur Traders.
Yep.
The first year, they did not trade whiskey. Fucking morons.
Yeah,
second year, but the second year they really hit their stride, and they started trading whiskey, and that's where the whiskey trade started, and that's how whiskey got flooded through Utah, was because of fur traders.
Yeah.
And High West always kind of funnels back their history through their products.
And fun fact, if you ever go out and visit Park City, Utah, which I highly recommend you do, it's on my list. I haven't been yet. I have friends and family. But if you go skiing, you can actually ski right into the gastropub of High West, and they are the only distillery in the world, I believe.
The only one in the world.
That actually have this. So you know how like you come down a mountain and boom, there's a ski lodge? Well, boom, there's the gastropub distillery.
I think what I would want to do though is I would want to snowboard and go like into it. I want to go in and I want to grab a glass of whiskey off the bar and go out the front door.
Into the parking lot.
Into the parking lot. Down the street, and you got hit by the train. Yeah. Oh, wow, what an unfortunate event. All right, so
But that is really cool that they have that.
It's, once again, it's High West innovating, it's High West being High West, where they don't give a shit about what anybody else is doing, they just do their own thing. And if you really want to know, and you if you buy one of these bottles, we're not going to go into the making of every single one of these bottles.
No. Oh,
we don't have the time for that, and they literally write the process and the story of every whiskey on the back of their bottle. Like so.
The double rye, for example, you can't read it now. You can pause it if you want to try and read it. Get your magnifying glass, but whatever. It's there.
But,
which I love when companies give you the history of the bottle or the mash bill, or they just give you something on the back because
be transparent.
Yeah, it
so there's
helps.
No secrecy, unlike other brands.
Yep.
All right. So on the nose, I've been drinking this. Sorry.
I rated too.
On the nose, it's actually similar.
Very similar.
It's very bright and shiny, and like maybe citrus.
Definitely a light citrus note, a little bit of maybe like a toffee sweetness.
And then you get like in the back, there's like a little sweetness, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely some sweetness on the back of the nose.
Baby, you can just come on, you got it.
Yeah,
it's okay. Love you.
Not much else to say about the nose. The taste, however,
very light.
Super light.
Get a little cinnamon.
Residual sweetness, a little spice.
Cinnamon sweetness, spice, everything nice.
Minimal oak, but it's actually a really, I don't know how to describe this oak flavor. It's not strong, but it's there.
I'm working on something here. I'm trying to see.
It's prominent. Is it like a French oak?
2 years old.
American
No,
oak,
2 years old. And it's bourbon. It's bourbon, so it has to be American oak. They're calling it bourbon. It has to be American oak. It's got to be 2 years old.
It's like...
And they don't finish this in another cask.
It's like a fresh oak. Maybe that's what it doesn't really taste like that charred oak like you normally get. This tastes more like a fresh oak. And it's delicious. It's super smooth. Goes down easy.
I'm just going with like...
This is also 40%? Yep.
No,
46%.
46, 92. So, overall, sum this one up. I'm going to go with nose. Bright, shiny, very ethanol forward, very light, super approachable.
Yeah.
Palate, light cinnamon, maybe a little bit of baking spice, but then you get some like light oakness, oaky flavor to it.
It's so weird. I've never had oak be so prominent, but it's so subtle at the same time.
On everyday whiskey, we finish each glass of whiskey.
Yes, we do.
There is nothing poured down the drain at the end of these episodes.
That's a sin.
Drink responsibly, my friends.
You know what? I'm going to rinse these real quick since this is our first time trying this.
So we get no, we're not tainting it. All right.
Yeah, I want an untainted.
So, I know slightly a little bit about the double rye. So the double rye is literally two different rye blends that are blended together. So double rye. They're both they're 2-year blends of ryes, and it's supposed to bring out the most traditional / ideal rye whiskey that in their minds is. In their minds is. I can't talk. In their minds is that could never do what is not fine to do.
Yeah. E equals MC squared.
E equals MC hammered, man. Alright, so we'll do a little splash.
Yes. Now remember, have all heard, neither of us are really that big rye people, so...
High West double rye, but High West
be interesting.
Mostly makes ryes.
Yeah. And we've both been expanding our palates to ryes. We've stumbled across quite a few.
New whiskey for the page.
New whiskey. Wow,
ooh.
There's it's a subtle nose.
Subtle nose, but you get
really
dried fruit.
Dried fruit, definitely.
I'm gonna go with raisins, maybe?
Raisin, fig, maybe?
But then you get cinnamon. Maybe prune. Cinnamon, fig, prune.
I mean, you gotta stick your nose in here.
Yeah, you really gotta hold on. Let me do the thing. I don't coat the glass.
Yeah, that's sure.
Oh, shout out to Penelope Bourbon for the sampling, guys. Thank you, guys.
And Grand Marnier for producing.
Not sponsored by High West, Penelope, Grand Marnier, any of the shit.
Anything. Contradiction. More High West. I forgot my High West shirt because I'm an idiot today, and I was dressed for warmth.
Oh, you see it? High West sign up here. That's the centerpiece of the show.
Yeah, it's cut off.
Is that cut?
Yeah, it is cut off. It's way too high up.
Oh, there's a High West sign up.
It used to be on our old set. Go to one of our old videos and you'll see.
But the nose again, it gets a little brighter at the end.
A little, but it's still subtle. It's not strong.
For a rye, this isn't a big nose, and usually with me for ryes, you always get a punch in the face.
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. My nose just unclogged a little bit, and no.
I'm just gonna go with dry. It's like dried fruit and a little bit of cinnamon.
That's what
I think that's really it. But it's light though. Oh man!
Wow.
Rye bread.
Yeah.
And black tea. Rye bread and black tea.
That's it. There's nothing else to describe this with except for tea and bread.
Yeah, and that's if you want to think of a rye whiskey, that's pretty much what I would say a rye whiskey tastes like in my head.
There's a lot of tea on the back end. Like once you swallow and then it kind of just lingers on the back of your tongue and
this is great.
Throat, there's a lot of tea flavor there. But up front, it's fresh baked.
It's a fresh loaf of rye bread. Man. I love rye bread, so this is awesome.
I do too, which is really fun.
And there's no punch in the back. It's very approachable. And just so you know, on the back of every bottle, it looks like actually no, this one says Yippee-Ki-Yay. Founder, David Perkins. David Perkins is the founder of High West, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yippee-Ki-Yay.
This one says.
I think that's just an expression.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know why it's like. And once again, the whole story behind double rye, back in the bottle. You got to buy the bottle, find out the story.
Oh yeah.
What's the fun in that?
Maybe after next week's episode, I'll do a personal live and bust out my notes and give a whole
I think you should bust out the corner chair with a fireplace and a corncob pipe and be like, this week on Everyday Whiskey Story
I'll give
time.
You guys some more info on the High West. I'll even show you guys. So not to reveal any names or anything, I work very, very closely with this product. And as I had to do some training for all kinds of things, so I have a whole bunch of notes with all kinds of info.
And if whoever wants to know about this brand, way more in depth, more than we can go through on this 15-minute episode.
Yeah.
Tune in for my separate episode, and also 7:30 every week we do Shelf Talk. We go live on Instagram with Shelf Talk. So just
Yeah,
Look for the notification.
Well, that'll be posted. Well, we're actually going to hop right onto that right when I hit the end button here.
And then we got a little surprise into this. So, High West just released 2 new pre-made cocktails. They released an Old Fashioned and a Manhattan. This was their old version of the Manhattan they made called the 36 Vote. Mm-hmm. The 36 Vote was a vote that ended Prohibition, and Utah was one of the final votes that ended Prohibition. Really? So, we're going to end this week with a nice Old Fashioned cocktail.
Yes.
One of the cooler bottles, honestly.
It is a cool bottle.
They actually make another whiskey called the Belvedere that's in this bottle as well. The Belvedere I couldn't get my hands on, couldn't find it.
Yeah, let's put it right up front.
Let's do that.
Yeah, put it right up front.
Yeah,
there.
sorry.
Everyone's looked at this one enough.
Yeah. It's an old-fashioned cocktail, so cheers. We're not going to go into tasting notes. If you had a Manhattan, you got it.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Everybody, like, subscribe, comment on this video. Tune in next week for part 2, where we go into the one-offs and oddities and rarities of High West Distillery. Have a great week.